What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So I don't watch award shows anymore. This includes the Oscars, Grammys, BET Awards, Source Awards, none of that stuff. I haven't watched any of those award shows since like the early 2000s. Okay. And one of the reasons why is just because a lot of that stuff is a bunch of nonsense anyway. The things that get chosen for a lot of those awards these days has nothing to do with the person's talent. It has nothing to do with the project itself. A lot of it is just a popularity contest and who the industry wants to elevate, right? So I don't really watch that stuff, but the incident that happened very recently that was going viral at the Grammys is one of the reasons why I don't appreciate those shows and why I don't watch them. And it's the whole situation that happened with the legendary songwriter and artist Babyface Edmonds when he was being interviewed by these two young Beckies during the on the red carpet. They were from the Associated Press and they were giving him an interview. And in the middle of him trying to answer the girl's question, she stops paying attention to his answer and starts trying to like look behind him. And they spot this new pop star named Chapel Roan, and they call her over so that they can do an interview with her. And just basically cut Babyface off, and he says, if you want to go do that, go do that. And he decided to basically just walk away, realizing that he was not going to be paid attention to anymore during this interview. So he just kind of left the scene, and they were all too happy to basically kick him to the curb and interview Chapel Roan. So that type of nonsense is one of the reasons why I don't pay attention to these modern award shows, because they have absolutely no respect for anything that's come before a year ago, if not 6 months. Whatever's popular right now is what we need to pay attention to, and to hell with any musician that's come before. And plus, it's just complete, disrespect to someone who has accomplished so much in the music field. Like someone that you would think you'd want to pick their brain and have an even long form interview, or, not just have a sound bite from them. Like Babyface is someone who I would love to just listen to his stories about recording or about songwriting, because he's not only has he written so many classic songs himself, he's worked with some of the greatest artists of all time, right? Just being able to hear what it was like, working with Tony Braxton early back in the day, or maybe working with Whitney Houston on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack, or maybe working with Boys to Men, at the height of their popularity. I would love to hear those stories, right? I would love to hear what went into creating those classic songs. But, you know, when you have people nowadays who are only concerned with the here and now and see the past as just something to look over, and no respect for the musical legacy that our greats have left behind, then there's no point in watching any of those shows. Now, luckily, I guess people were watching this online and watching the live stream of the Grammys, so they called out those interviewers and were basically getting on them for being so disrespectful, right? And I guess they've given their little apology. They probably didn't mean it, but they gave their little apology to Babyface. But even a lot of, other famous musicians and songwriters are very upset about that. And, I'm of two minds up on this thing, because Yeah, it was extremely disrespectful, and it was something that should never have happened because I doubt that this would happen to, I don't know, if this was like Phil Spector or somebody, some white songwriter, this would not have happened, right? If it was like, I don't know, like Sting or somebody like that, this would never happen. But because it's a black person and a black music legend, I mean, Babyface has worked with other artists across genres and race before, but I'm thinking that, a lot of white people have no idea who he is. I'm talking about older white people. So you have older white people and also the younger generation has no idea who he is. So it's easy for them to just overlook his accomplishments. Now, on the other side of things, I think that, you know, artists like that shouldn't be too concerned. And I don't think it looked like Babyface was not too concerned. His feelings weren't hurt by this. His ego was not hurt by this. He's accomplished so much to the point where it's like whatever, right? He said he only shows up to these award shows to see his colleagues and friends anyway. So, I don't think that we as black people should get too bent out of shape over this situation because that's just what it is. When it comes to these Grammys or these mainstream white awards, like, people are making a big deal that Beyonce won a country award. Does it really matter whether they accept her or does it really matter if the other side, if the mainstream accepts Babyface? We know who he is. We enjoy his music. We're the ones that made him famous to begin with. It should really only matter if he has our acceptance and not their acceptance because they're never going to accept him anyway. It doesn't matter what his accomplishments are, his songwriting credits, or what he's created. They don't care about him anyway. So it should only be us where it should have more merit. That's why at first, when they first started, I thought the BET Awards was something important because this was black people showing honor to our greats. But even that has become nothing but a large minstrel show, right? Where it's just nothing but coonery and buffoonery at these award shows when it concerns black people, and what it only is concerned with the trash that the mainstream industry promotes, not who we think, who the grassroots thinks should be popular. It only has to do with who these small hats and mayonnaise mutants behind the scenes, and even some of these people from the Middle East, like what they think should black people should be listening to, right? So, you know, it's a mess how these award shows are nowadays. They don't celebrate actual artists. They celebrate a lot of trash. So, in my opinion, Babyface, while I don't think he was upset, I definitely don't feel that he should even care about this situation, because it looked bad on them and it didn't reflect bad on him, right? He has his accomplishments. He got his awards during a time where there was actually real competition in songwriting. He was a legend during a time when legends were still here and breathing and still making music on a constant basis. So, you know, nowadays, if he is not acknowledged by these little teeny boppers or people who are fans of Chapel Roan, it doesn't really matter. Chapel Roan is probably not going to be remembered within the next 5 years or so. Babyface has made music that is timeless. Okay, so I mean, you folks can let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I would love to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.